आप देख रहे हैं द बुक रिव्यू चैनल. Welcome to this channel. Today we are going to do book review of this book. The name of the book is India, that is Bharat, Coloniality, Civilization, Constitution, written by Shri Deepak. Now let us first know something about the author. Shri Deepak is an engineer turned lawyer practicing as a arguing counsel primarily before the Supreme Court of India and the High Court of Delhi. A mechanical engineer from Anna University, he graduated with a bachelor's degree in law from IIT Kharagpur Law School in 2009. And he has carved a niche for himself as a litigator in civil and commercial and constitutional matters. If you want to know more about Shri Deepak, whenever I speak about him, I feel happy because he is one of the most articulate persons currently on this globe. Now let us go through the book. I'm not going to give you everything about the book. This is just a review of the book so that you can definitely go home and read the book. This is a very special book. I must say this is special because this book has caught the imagination of public like anything. This is one of the best sellers. Still now, it is one of the best sellers. So you must read this. If you are a book enthusiast, you should definitely read this. This book speaks about your country. This book speaks about Bharata. Speaks about all the things that you need to know as an Indian, as a Bharatiya. The name of the book, as I already told you, is India, that is Bharat, Coloniality, Civilization and Constitution. Now let us first understand the topic. Now let us first understand what is the meaning of India. Now let us look into the Oxford Dictionary of meaning of India. You have to go to Oxford Dictionary for this because this book is itself is an antidote to many of the narratives that has been brought about against India, against Bharata. So Oxford Dictionary says a country in South Asia. They could have called it a country in the Indian Ocean, but they preferred South Asia, which used to be part of the British Empire. This is the definition of India. So you see the colonial hangover is still there. It became independent and a member of the Commonwealth in 1947. So they are still stressing on the Commonwealth part. Commonwealth, whose Commonwealth? What is the definition of Commonwealth? Commonwealth is the former colony of the UK, that is United Kingdom. So you understand the way it is written. Now let us see what Bharata means. According to the open source information, Bharata is a Sanskrit word, literally translates into to bear, to carry. It means one who is in search of light, search of knowledge. India has historically known as Bharata, which means one in search of light and knowledge. So look at the contrast. Look at the Oxford Dictionary meaning and look at the Indian Dictionary, Indian meaning of Bharata. So this book, this introduction itself tells about how important this book is. The word coloniality, the first time it is attributed that this word came from Hannibal Cujonah. He is the one who is told to be the father of this word. What is the definition which Shri Deepak has given in one of his interviews? Now I will read out some excerpts from this book, so this can give you a better idea. I am randomly picking some pages, so you might have some topics and some topics might not be there. But this book covers everything that you need to understand about India from the year 1492 to 1919. So this book covers all those topics which is related with your country, my country. So on page 6 of this book, I am going to page 6. Oh, I must tell you, I got this book autographed by Shri Deepak. This is a very special book. On page 6 of this book, it says, it gives us the names of authors which we always wanted to know. Whom should we in this world of all those narrative building, whom should we turn to understand your own country better? So these are the list of authors, names which suggested by Shri Deepak in this book. He says, I started reading the works of Pandurang Vaman Kane, Jadunath Sarkar, Radha Kumud Mukherjee, R.C. Mujumdar, K.A. Neelakanta Shastri, K.S. Ramaswamy Shastri, S.L. Bhairappa. I have read S.L. Bhairappa's book. R. Nagaswamy, Ram Swaroop, Sitaram Goyal, Dharampal, Kapil Kapoor, Konrad Elst, Michael Danio, Shrikant G. Talagiri, Meenakshi Jain, and Sandeep Balakrishnan. Apart from the publications of Ramakrishna Mission Institute of Culture and Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan. This was, of course, in addition to the writings of Swami Vivekananda. I recently read Swami Vivekananda's book. The book is from Colombo to Almora. It's a very nice book. I have already done the review in another video. Shri Aurobindo and other civilizational icons. My reading was based on the recommendation of better informed individuals who worked full-time on civilizational issues as trained scholars, historians, civil society advocates, educators and public intellectuals. So this is the list which you can also follow. You can put the names in the Google, and every 3 months you can read one book so that you are better informed. When anyone tells you any stupid story about your country, you can answer them in a better way. So now we go to the page 77. I have something there on page 77. I will read out an article on the page 77. I will read this out to you. Try to understand why I am reading this. Importantly, the manner in which the natives were recruited in the colonial power structure was yet another proof of the European colonizers' deeply ingrained ethno-religious consciousness. Soldiers and mercenaries were recruited from those sections of the native society that were identified as martial races, which was developed into full-fledged doctrine as applied in India. The British Army was organized on religious and caste lines, again pointing to the colonizers' racial approach, not just to religion but also to the caste. The after effects of such an approach to the indigenous social structures are being felt even today in our understanding of the idea of caste and the way it has been portrayed in Indian studies within Bharata and the rest of the world. A similar approach to army recruitment based on ethnicity was employed in British Borneo, Burma and the British areas of Africa. The Dutch were no different in their recruitment strategies in Dutch East India companies, Dutch East Indias. So it tells you the psychology, the mentality between how the colonizers wanted to divide this nation into different, difficult for them to rule such a big piece of land, because it becomes easier if people are fighting among themselves. So that was the motto. Now there is a word which comes in this book again and again, that is called OET. Now what is OET? OET is Onto Epistemology and Theology. OET refers to cultural inquiry of a knowledge that is based on philosophy and examination of theories constructed using theory. So this is OET. So OET is basically like trying to understand system in a deep sense. I have marked as important the pages and pages after. In the last page of this book, you can see I have mentioned so many page numbers. You can see this. I am randomly picking out from these pages the page numbers. Now on this page it tells us the impact of coloniality. The most civilized society did not realize that their entire worldview has changed, for they could not see beyond the political independence and the aspired freedom to govern themselves, albeit using the same values and institutions they have inherited from the European colonizer. So the European colonizer, even after he goes, the brown babus are still there. The brown babus who still think, I have met people who say that, oh, the British government was nice. I have met people. I don't want to take their names, but this is what he's talking about. This is the kind of ingrained narrative building that goes in a very subtle way into your head and it stays back. But when it goes into your head and you keep speaking in front of your next generation, that also thinks that hey, this is the right thing to do. I will continue further. Do you know the famous word? baggage. Yeah, that baggage thing. Yeah. This is a very beautiful quote by Nelson Mandela. Nelson Mandela explains you something here. Commenting on the objective of colonial education in Africa, Nelson Mandela remarks thus: "The educated Englishman was our model. What we aspired to be were black Englishmen. Like we have brown Englishmen in India. We had and we still have. We were taught and believed that the best ideas were English ideas." So this is deracination of the mind. You have to start to hating your own culture and all those things. You start to demean your own culture. We were taught and believed that the best ideas were English ideas, the best government was the English government, and the best men were Englishmen. Mandela was acutely aware of the fact that the purpose of colonial education in educating people like him was to create new black elite in Africa that looked up to the colonizer and his way of life. Clearly, as some scholars on colonial education in Africa have pointed out, non-European and European children in British colonies did not receive the same education. While one were taught to serve, the other to rule, which was the vision of the colonizer to colonize the colonized society. You see? Now let us look at the impact of education on our society. Now, this is a very beautiful point. When we call ourselves Hinduism as a way of life, how it may impact us in regards to our rights is mentioned here. The adherence to of Indic faith systems are concerned, rightly so, that the treatment of Hinduism as a way of life and not a religion by the Indian state might deprive them of their fundamental religious freedoms under the constitution that are guaranteed to the followers of the other religion. Basically, to sum it up, this book has covered, like there are questions like what is the definition of Bharata, like even that is here in this book. This is a page number 183 where it starts like this: to rebut the colonizers' contention that Bharat did not exist as a single unit, whether philosophical or geographical. Mukherjee cites authorities of Bharat's geography such as Vincent Arthur Smith and George Chisholm, who were of the following views. These are British authors who are writing this. According to them, India, encircled as she is by seas and mountains, is indisputably a geographical unit, and such is rightly designated by one name, one entity. There is no part of the world better marked out by nature as a region by itself than India, exclusive of Burma. It is a region indeed full of contrasts in physical features and in climate, but the features that divide it as a whole from surrounding regions are too clear to be overlooked. So, people who say that India does not exist as a unit must understand that India has always been called that way. Even when you go to your native place, if there is any antim kriya, when the ashes reaches to the native place, they say this shloka. They start from the top of Himalayas. The shloka mentions it like a GPS, it's a Bharata Varshe, then it comes to the different state, then it goes to the villages level, and it goes to the place where you are standing, so that the puja can be offered. In a way that it reaches where it should reach. And how do you do that? You give your accurate location. In that shloka, the Bharata Varsha comes. You see, I was surprised when I heard it. I have heard it myself. People have been trying this for ages, but it won't work. And thanks to people like Deepak, Meenakshi Jain, and many others, the people have done a lot of sacrifice when they write this kind of books. Writing this kind of books takes a lot of effort. You see, even for preparing this kind of video, I have to invest at least 30 to 40 minutes of my time. I have to read this book first, then I have to make this kind of page numbers so that I can know on which page what is there. So imagine the pain and the effort taken by people who write this kind of books and what drives them. So you should like what you can do is, as a person, you should try to understand your own country first. In the past, we didn't have this kind of opportunity of knowing the names of authors also. Forget books. I recently came to know about these Indic authors. Now you have the time and the energy. You should at least read it. Try to understand it. The aim is not to belittle anyone. The aim is to know who you are. That is the basic aim. Thank you. See you again.